Hello again, welcome back to the first official episode of the Somerset Survival. So just before I start, I just want to clarify just a few things really. I mentioned them very quickly yesterday, just in terms of rules and how I want to play it. So I'll just give you an idea right at the beginning. So in terms of difficulty, just to show you if I jump into it, we are going to keep the economy onto easy just for a moment. I think potentially that will change, but just to make sure that we keep it nice and speedy and some decent progression without having to wait too long, I will just start that on easy. We're not going to have seasonal growth on, and we're just going to do 1 day per month. It will run through the year like normal, and hopefully it will snow like normal as well. Not that we get a great deal of that down here, but crop destruction's on. We will keep the periodic ploughing, field stone and weeds all turned on. I like to have the dirt on fast just because I think it's more realistic. Those settings don't really matter too much. Now, with regards to AI workers, so I quite like the idea of being able to use them, if I'm honest with you. So we will be using them. It's not going to be straight away, and it's going to be as and when it can be afforded, just like it would be in real life. However, what I will do, as and when we come to that, is install the mod which allows you to adjust the pay rate, and we will put those settings right up. So if we do need to, and we do decide to use an AI worker, it will cost a realistic amount for it rather than the standard in-game version, which makes it a bit too cheap in my opinion. But certainly when we get to doing that, they will not automatically refill any of that. So again, we would have to transport that from the shops or produce it ourselves, i.e. manure and slurry if it's needed. So just want to keep it as realistic as possible, but I think saying that we won't use an AI worker is probably not realistic, to be honest. So that option is there in the future, as everything starts to expand. So just with regards to just a couple of rules, I mentioned some yesterday. I'm not going to use super strength. So you know, we're going to start chopping down some trees in a moment, no doubt. I'm not going to use super strength, and we will cut them to the correct size, and we will lift what the game allows us to lift. Yeah, I'll do my absolute best in the future to not use that as well. Well, that's kind of it, really, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to grab my Xbox Elite controller, and we'll jump in to start tidying up this yard. So I'll just see you in a mo. Okay, so here we are, exactly the same place as where we finished yesterday. So I have done absolutely nothing. We are still on 0. From experience, that'll probably go minus, to be honest, because the chainsaw tends to cost a little bit of money as you run it. So I'm sure that's going to go minus temporarily. Now we'll start to clear these ones up first. I think pop them into the back of our little Citroen. And I haven't looked on the map yet to see where actually we need to sell this from, but I'll just start with moving the Citroen a little bit closer. I actually do really like this Citroen, but you will see, as I mentioned yesterday, some of the animations aren't great. So when you pop the door open, your windscreen actually kind of stays in its initial place. So not amazing. It did come from Mod Network, so hopefully I've just got to keep an eye on for some updates, I guess, because I do quite like it. It looks pretty cool. But here we go. And also you tend to spawn on the roof every time. But that's fine, little things. Right, let's get it going. Just get rid of those limbs. Brilliant. Right, just had to quickly change my settings, turn the crosshair back on. That's all turned off for the survival story mode, just to try and make it look a bit more real, but for this kind of game it would be quite helpful to see it. So now I'm kind of guessing how wide this van is, because I will show you very quickly as I try and load one up. The strap on the back of it goes kind of the wrong way. as you can see there, hopefully in the green. So I'm figuring we're going to have to put them in that way, because I can't imagine stacking them in the other way is going to work. I mean, I would imagine the game would probably work, it will still lock them into place, it seems to do that, but from again trying to keep a little bit of realism, that's not how you would do it normally. So do this way, I'm guessing the larger pieces here, and I'll try and get those slightly longer pieces up onto the roof. Again, all of this I'm not using super strength, at least I don't think I am. No, super strength is there, but I'm not going to use it, and I was not using it. So let's continue to load this up. I won't do time lapses and things for the first one, only because time lapses tend to be a bit harsh on the eyes when you're doing trees and things. So I'll do this first one. We'll jump into the map in a second, figure out where we've got to go to try and sell some of this wood. Alright, will it allow me to pick that up? Oh, I cut that smaller than I thought. Okay, right, first stumbling block. This is obviously a tree that you can't automatically delimb, so I wonder which tree that is that's doing that, because those to me look like standard trees. Is it that one? Yeah. Okay, so one of these trees is one of those irritating ones that we're going to have to chop up individually, chop each branch off, but that's fine. Let me do this. There we go. I haven't really looked at it, to be honest, but I don't know what to do around the speed, so let's just change that a bit. I think at this stage we could probably get through the days because we haven't got anything growing or dependent on it, so I'll stick it to times 10. We'll try and leave it at 10, see how we get on with that. But again, there's no reason why we can't skip through the days or the months at the minute. Hopefully we can get away with some slightly bigger chops here now. Right, pop that up onto the roof. Strap that ready. Is that gonna... oh, there we go. I thought that was one long piece, but it wasn't. I really do like this van, to be honest. It's a shame that it has its small faults, but it is a pretty cool little van. I quite like the way that it straps sideways. also I reckon we can pile this right up. It looks like we can get loads in there. Right, tell you what. Let's oh, that's interesting. You can certainly feel that it's got a bit of weight on it now. That's for sure. I'll just pop that up there. Okay, that little bit is going to irritate me. There we go. Alright, how much more can we squeeze in there? It's a shame you can't open any side doors on this. It's because it doesn't have any. That would explain that. I would like to be able to get more of that into there. Is that as far forward as it can go? I guess it is. Oh, there we go. A little bit more room. Okay, so to be honest, not far off being full now. So we'll try and squeeze the last few bits in, have a look at that map, see where we have got to go. I do hope we get a relatively decent amount. I did download some harvesters, by the way. There is one that's really cheap. I'm assuming it is really small, but it might do. Now, yesterday I mentioned it, and I've been having a bit of a think, because I'm a bit sad and I'll be pre-planning ideas. And I do think that clearing this down, getting rid of these bushes, I do think this would be quite a nice little spot for kind of a small open chicken coop. And then I was thinking, what was that crop? Because potentially that would be the food. And it is wheat, so it just kind of makes sense, to be honest with you. So there is a really cheap, there is that awful looking trail harvester, which again, like I mentioned, I've seen people using that and I really don't fancy that. But even that could do temporarily, just to get a little bit, just to get some basic food for chickens, because as I'm sure you know, chickens on this game generate a decent amount of income through the eggs pretty quickly. In fact, it's probably one of the easiest ways to start any save, really, in just getting some chickens. So not that I want it to be too easy, but it's just quite fitting. I think this area works quite well for chickens. But anyway, right, I could probably get a couple more of those on in a moment, but let's just jump to the map a moment, and just try and figure out where we can go to sell some wood. Let's just get my mouse out. I'm assuming there. Always go past that first time. Yep, so sawmill, I'm pretty sure August. Are we in August? Ideal. Okay, let's just check. Okay, right, that one there potentially is the trigger behind it, but we'll have a look in a moment. We are actually in August, aren't we? Yep, just gone lunchtime in August, so let's get as much as possible. We need to do this today. This is going to give us a real boost, I think, to get us started. So how much more can I get up there? This is untested, untried. This I spotted this Citroen modification yesterday. I haven't used it on any saves. I have no idea how this is going to cope once you actually load some weight onto it. But we'll find out in a second. That's for sure. Now, well, why won't it allow me to get in? Let's do it that way instead. Also, you'll notice that it's a driverless van, which is quite a cool feature. Let's go. Right, so the great thing about doing a map that I've never done before is I don't actually know where to go, and again I think that's pretty cool. I think that's a nice thing to do. So I'm going towards the green light, but I actually don't have a clue where we're going. I don't know if this van is going to tip over. It's probably top heavy, so we're going to take it easy and we're just going to follow this main road along. Okay, here we are, just pulling up. It is, by the look of it, just there, which is great. So, oh, what did I just run over as well? Okay, I'm a little bit stuck. I am a little bit stuck. Okay, I don't like doing this normally. One thing I don't like to do is teleport to various places. I think you should, if you're going to go there, you should go there in a vehicle. But to get me out of those locks, I'll do that. Now this is a new thing because I haven't really looked and I didn't know whether to even expect any collectibles to be in this, and I'm not quite sure what we should do. For a minute I'm going to leave it, but potentially, I mean they're there as part of the map. They're not overly hidden that great though, if I'm honest. But they're part of the map, they're part of the game, so do we collect them? Do we see how we're going? I don't want to... Oh, there's more. Yeah, it's a little bit too easy. Yeah, I don't want to be collecting them as well if they're going to give you something silly like 50,000 per toy, so... I don't know, I'm not sure what to do, but for a minute we'll just continue to run that over. Now let's see how much we get for this. Okay, 1600. Not bad at all. So I'm just gonna head on back. I don't know whether to time lapse it, speed it up, or just crop this little drive out, but I'm just gonna drive back over to that yard and get a couple more trees on the go. So I'll meet you back at the yard in a moment. Here we are, so just reverse back up into the same spot. I don't know if you noticed then, but this does not have very good brakes. A couple of times though I tried to stop and it kind of doesn't, so I've got to watch that in the future. So I'm just going to load out. I think I might speed this up this time because I don't want to bore people too much with the same as what a lot of people do. And this is one of those difficult trees as well, so I'll speed this one up and get this one loaded for definite, and I'll catch you again in a moment. Okay, great, that's that loaded up. I did manage to delimb that awkward tree then. I don't know if you noticed. When you cut it small enough and they cut it again, they kind of disappear, so I just kept on trimming it and trimming it. I can't be doing with loading up those little pieces. I'd rather just lose the money. Anyway, again, yeah, the animations are a bit odd, but I really like this, so I do hope whoever made it, I'll find out who it was and put their name into one of the descriptions. But I really hope they go out again and do an updated version, because I think it's pretty cool. Apart from the brakes. But let's go back to that sawmill. Don't need to tag the place now, I can remember. We also don't look like we're so top heavy. Once we get rid of these bits, oh dear. Once we get rid of these bits and that bit, we'll start chopping down some of the standard trees, I think, and again make the most of it, because if this is the best time, the best month to be selling it, then I wasn't planning on chopping down too many trees straight away, but it kind of makes sense, and eventually we need to sell them anyway. Alright. Oh, brakes almost didn't work again. The indicator animation doesn't work either, by the way. I am not a bad driver. They don't work. So I think we're probably coming up to, I don't want to make these too long. The story mode ones I do tend to be around half an hour or just over. I think keeping these at around 20 minutes is probably better. Hopefully doesn't mean people have to commit so much time to try and sit down and watch a video. You know, and it's nice to think that someone who starts it wants to see it through to the end. So I just feel that keeping them a bit shorter is probably a better option. So we'll finish this one off. We'll sell this one through. I'll end the episode. I am still going to keep playing. I am going to still keep recording. So it's not going to be very long at all before the second one comes out, because I'll probably do 2, maybe 3, maybe 4 right now. So but let's just have a little final look at where we're going to finish and how much is this going to come to. Correct, well, 870. I think that's probably because 50% of what was in there was one of those awkward trees, and they certainly don't seem to be worth so much. So that's not bad. £2,458. So I don't think we'll be buying anything yet. And to be honest, a bit backwards, but I think maybe the priority might be to clear the area, get some chickens, and actually go straight in for some form of harvester, just so we've got a decent amount of chicken food. So that's what we'll look at. We'll have a look at that in the next episode. But for now, thank you very much. If you have watched it, I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, second series on YouTube. I'm by far not a pro. However, hopefully, you know, I have the right ideas and you're enjoying it. And yeah, I'll catch you again in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.